and you touch that on there, and it unlocks. It gives you 5 seconds with which to take off. It's not a, and this is not a. I'm trying to think of creative ways to explain this, but this is not a. This is not a jet, or it's not a rocket. Should I say? It's not a countdown. And you go, oh, 0, take off. Because once it hits 0, it cuts out again. So if you look on the screen here, there's a little lock symbol. So when you touch it, this vibrates much like an iPhone, and then it starts counting down. If you pull the trigger before the countdown ends, you're away. If you wait till after it ends, it locks again.
Do it again.
Does that make sense?
Cool.
Okay, so that's clear as mud. Everyone's like, oh, I don't get it, but it's pretty, it's an awkward thing to explain. So the reason they give you the 5 seconds is so that you can get yourself in the right position. If you're a heavier rider, you kind of need to be towards the back and sitting on it like a bodyboard. And touch the remote on the pad, because it doesn't like the magnetic frequency or whatever. It doesn't work through the water very well. So you go, oh, yep, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, flight service. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take off. Okay, you can take off. So you take off lying down. So if you look on the remote, there's like a number here that looks like a 7. You can hold onto that. I'll pretend I'm holding it now. So it's actually a 1. So on the top of the remote is a gear. The buttons are for gears.
So you go up and down.
Treat the trigger is variable, but treat it like an on-off switch. So pull the trigger on, and hold it on. Till you fall off.
Like this.
And if you're about to fall off, by all means, absolutely, every time let go of the trigger. It does disconnect when you go under the water. And so it will not tend to run you over or whatever, you know, like keep powering on. But I have seen for a brief second that the power stays on. You know, so ideally, well, let go. You don't have to let go of the remote, but just take your finger off and dive off to the side. Okay, so you're going along on speed 1. You've touched it. Boom. Just take off speed 1. Scooch forward a little bit. The nose will come up. It'll do a bit of this. Just you can feel it out. Just ride it around a little bit. Go to speed 2.
You can go up to speed 2 while
lying down. 3.
But like while pulling the trigger as well.
Yeah, you're holding the trigger, so you're just keeping the trigger on.
Gotcha.
So treat it like a switch, a dead man switch. The trigger is variable. You can go 3 and then back off to 2 by backing off. But don't worry about that for you guys for now. Just hold it on and use the gears to speed up or slow down. So like you're holding it now is perfect. Just keep your thumb up there. Memorize which is plus and minus. And in your mind, and so you don't have to physically look at it. Because unless I yell out to you, what speed are you on? You don't need to know. You can feel it. So go up, up. Okay, and now the board's got the water running along the water line. You're going about, I don't know, let's say jogging speed or a fast walk. Get yourself up with sort of, ideally, you just sort of go like this. You pull your knees under yourself and get right up. So you're kneeling here and here, either side. So the reason is that, like obviously, because it's like a boat, you've got to push the nose down. So you're cruising along, go to 4, like for yours, you're pretty light, you don't look that heavy either, so 4 should be almost planing on the surface. The reason you want to stay forward is so that you don't inadvertently foil. So you're kneeling up, okay? Does that make sense?
You got to keep the board on the water.
On the water, So cruising along on 4 or possibly 5 if you're slightly heavier. I'll just yell out, go a little bit faster. There's a fine line between going too fast where it feels uncomfortable and going too slow that you can't control the foiling. It's a bit like an aircraft again, but you've got to get up to speed before it will fly. Because otherwise it goes like, it's stalling. So it's kind of going through the water like this rather than flying properly with the wing lifting.
Be more stable.
So cruising along on 4 or 5, kneeling like that, you can either at this point just move back just slightly so that you're kind of here, and then just try leaning back, kind of half sitting down, but be prepared. As soon as you stop hearing the water clicking and clacking under the board, go forward again. Even go so much, keep the trigger on, but go forward again. Maybe even put a hand out on the timber bit at the front here, and it'll bring it down. So you're only coming up a couple of inches, then back down. So just do that. I'm the king of the world, Titanic style, and then back forward. And then after like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, you'll be like foiling, just doing this. You might want to get forward, just move your knees slightly, and then you'll find that you end up with your knees back here somewhere, and you'll be able to just kind of keep kneeling up like this, and just doing small movements even with your arms. Okay, and we'll do that for a little while, however long you feel comfortable. Now this is not mandatory. You can choose not to do this. You can go straight to your feet if you want.
I was
You're
gonna
going to
say,
be a hero.
places are gonna have a good time.
If you don't like this gets unpleasant. So this is only just to experience it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next step from there is to alight or stop. If you let go of the trigger, the thing stops, right? And you do go over the front.
Do you go nose diving?
Yeah, it nose dives because of course you're up the front of the thing. What do you think's going to happen? You let go of the trigger, it just goes submarine.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep let go of the trigger and leave the trigger off, and just fall off to one side. Ideally, you want to sort of exit like a yeah. The exits are here and here. Please have your life jacket on at the time of an emergency water landing. So so ideally you kind of like whether you're kneeling down or standing up, you kind of want to exit off to one side and sort of push the board away to the opposite direction to what you're going. So you go like that and it goes around like that so it doesn't hit you.
Okay.
And for that reason, also stay a good distance apart because they can go like 10 meters.
Yeah.
You don't have a leg rope. You don't want a leg rope that weighs 30 kilos, so it'll yank on your leg.
Yeah.
Okay, so the process for standing up, very similar to the kneeling down one. The one nuance is that you're going to ideally stand up before it's planing. So while the water's still running along like this, sub-planing, so jogging speed, just enough to make you feel comfortable that you can stand up without it nose diving, but not so much that it's going to start planing on the surface. Yeah. So same deal, touch the remote, 1, 2, 3, get up to your knees, maybe on 3, you kind of stand up. I'm goofy, you can be natural if you want. They recommend standing like here and here.
Yep.
Okay, so I kind of
Offset. Just kind of, that's for most people who are not surfers, that doesn't feel unnatural to them because they can face forward.
Yeah.
But if you're a good surfer, there's no reason you can't stand sideways, keep your shoulders back, relax.
Okay.
And then a couple more bits of power. This is my natural way to stand, so I'm going to do this because it probably looks a bit more like I actually mean it. Standing here on the board, a little bit offset maybe, kind of with your front foot right up here, a bit like how your knees were right up here. You're going to have your front foot right up here, your back foot just a little bit behind this strap so you can kind of feel that with your toe.
Okay.
If you don't want to look down. So you're standing up like this and you're doing a lot of this. So do this part with me. This is like a little bit of a pre-warmer. So yeah, so you're actually, to do it to the extent that you can actually lift your back foot off. So see how my body's not leaning like this, but I've got my weight over that foot. Does that make sense?
All over the front.
Yeah, all over the front. So like that. So, and so yeah, a lot of people have the tendency to do this, but you can actually do this. You lean your head forward, but I've got all my weight on my back leg. You know what I mean? So that's so this is key. All right. So then keep doing this with me because this is the nuance as you're riding. So I'll do mirror. Are you guys regular footies? Yeah, I'm the goofy. Okay. So mirror image. So you're riding along a little bit like this. You get up on the plane.
Yeah.
Now that you're planing, you can actually back off a couple if you want and see what happens.
Okay.
So that you don't go too fast. Because you might go to like 5 or 6, find, oh, now I'm up on the plane, oh crap. It just took off and it just accelerated, Go back one. Just sit there with the weight a little bit on the front for a while, just feeling how the board's going. You can ride it on the plane, on the surface, just like a surfboard. Don't expect it to turn very quickly though, because it's got that big keel hanging underneath it. It takes a while, So cruising along on the plane, blah, blah, blah. You're cruising along. Okay, now you're gonna do the same thing that you experienced kneeling down. You're gonna shift your core mass back a bit, and then forward again, and then back a bit, and then forward again. And that's, and then once you've been riding for a while, this is how much movement you make. Just to see how it's all in the hips. My head's not really moving. Just doing like that, and see how it's one knee straightens, the other knee straightens. So you just basically can keep your head in the same place, and like if you're really like aggressively going over waves or whatever, you're doing this. And it looks weird, but it looks weird when you do it on the ground. It looks cool when you're doing it. It looks like you're doing. It just looks like you're doing some weird dance.
Now turning it, how do you?
So turning it is the same as intuitive. I don't really even say anything about that. But it's a good question because it just expect it to turn like a slow mal. Okay, it's going to turn in an arc about yay.
Yeah, gotcha.
Semi-trailer arc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Initially,
Yeah.
and once you've had a go on that for a while, I will possibly give you a turn on the more pro setup. You might find it quite addictive. It's much more it's much more tippy,
Okay.
much more responsive, like you'd expect of a shortboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are like Mel's, that's like a shortboard.
Okay.
Comparatively.
Are these like? Can you start from standing?
You can if you weigh 45, 50 or
Okay.
whatever you
Yeah.
weigh.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
lightweight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
But
they're
not really because you got to
because
touch.
of the weight of the battery and the foil.
Yeah, as much as it looks like a big board, the whole thing weighs 30 kilos. So
Yeah.
if it, in the water, it sits like here. You know,
Yeah, gotcha.
it still keeps floaty for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can stand up on this on speed 1.
Okay.
You don't have to get to speed 3 to stand up.
Okay.
And you can ride around for 5 minutes if you want, not foiling.
Yeah.
Or not
Just standing
planing
up
even.
on it,
You
yeah,
can
not
cruise
planing.
along around on speed 2,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does react differently to when it's on the plane, obviously.
Yeah.
Just like paddling a stand-up paddleboard, if you've done that,
Yeah.
it doesn't react the same as when you're
Really
riding a wave with it,
Yeah.
planes and turns,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it's a good one. And even if then, it still doesn't turn great. I made myself a 7-foot stand-up paddleboard because I got a bit of a neck issue
Yeah.
from too many over the bars mountain biking and stuff over the years, and yeah, even then, it still turns pretty good, but it's nothing like riding a short.
It's not the same.
No. Okay, so I shall well, I should have got dressed already. But anyway. Well, thanks for the video, Jace.